The Hashira are the absolute peak of what a human being can achieve in the world of Demon Slayer. 9 warriors, each carrying a blade sharp enough to end demons, and a past heavy enough to break anyone else. Their strength didn't come from nowhere. Every one of them was forged in some of the most brutal circumstances the story has to offer, and we're going to get into all of it. Let's start with the love Hashira, Mitsuri Kanroji. Mitsuri was born with extraordinary physical strength, a massive appetite, and iconic pink and green hair that came directly from eating 170 sakura mochi every day for 8 months. Her hair is literally rice cake powered. The problem was that the society she grew up in had no idea what to do with a woman like her. Her appearance and strength made her an outcast, and at 17, a marriage proposal fell through. Stung by the rejection, she dyed her hair black, pretended to be weak, and forced herself to eat less. She almost went through with another marriage before realizing that performing a version of herself that didn't exist wasn't living. She encountered Kaguya Ubuyashiki shortly after, who told her plainly that her strength was a gift, and anyone who thought otherwise wasn't worth her time. Those words sent her straight to the Demon Slayer core. She trained under Kyojuro Rengoku and passed the final selection in just 6 months, earning a white Haori as a gift from Rengoku himself. She couldn't master flame breathing, but developed her own style, love breathing, during a joint mission against a lower moon demon. She even named some of its techniques after cats, which tells you everything you need to know about Mitsuri. She joined the Corps partly hoping to find a man stronger than herself to marry, rose to Hashira so fast that barely anyone qualified, and eventually fell for Obanai Igoro. Unfortunately, neither of them ever got to confess their feelings. Which brings us to him. Obanai Igoro, the Serpent Hashira, has one of the most unsettling origins in the series. He was born in a family of women who worshipped a serpentine demon in exchange for stolen wealth, paying her tribute in newborn babies. Obanai was the first male born in the clan in 370 years, and his heterochromia made the demon curious enough not to eat immediately, but to fatten him up for later. His family locked him in a wooden cage and showered him with rich food daily, while the demon slithered around the bars at night, staring at him until he couldn't sleep. When he was 12, they pulled him out for the demon's inspection, but she still wasn't satisfied with his size. Before sending him back, she had his mouth cut from the corners all the way to the ears to match hers. It's why he wears bandages across the lower half of his face to this day. He stole a hairpin, spent his nights carving at the wooden bars, and eventually escaped. A stray snake wandered into his cage during that time and became his only friend, Kaburamaru, who's still with him now. When the demon realized he'd gone, she killed almost every woman in the family. His only surviving cousin blamed him and screamed that he should have left himself to be eaten. He never got over that. He joined the Corps carrying that guilt, and it's the only reason he never confessed to Mitsuri. He believed his blood was too tainted for someone like her. Next is Sanemi Shigezugawa, the Wind Hashira, who walks around with enough scars and fury to power a small city. Sanemi grew up as the eldest of 7 children with an abusive father and a mother who shielded her kids from him constantly. After their father was killed by a rival, Sanemi and his brother Genya held the family together until the night their mother didn't come home. He went looking for her and found her turned into a demon. She came back to the house and killed all of their siblings except Genya. Sanemi fought her out through a window and killed her, earning the 2 massive scars across his face in the process. When Genya arrived and saw Sanemi standing over their mother's body, he panicked and accused him of murder. Sanemi couldn't explain the truth. He just walked away and spent years hunting demons alone, with whatever weapons he could find, not even knowing the Demon Slayer Corps existed. A demon slayer named Masachika eventually found him, trained alongside him, and helped him take down the Lower Moon 1 demon. But Masachika died in that fight. Sanemi was the only one promoted to Hashira. He later learned from Masachika's will that his friend had seen the ghost of his dead brother in him. That was the crack in the wall. Muichiro Tokito, the mist Hashira that made Hashira rank in just 2 months at the age of 14, what it cost him is the part worth knowing. He and his twin, Yuichiro, lost both parents on the same day when they were 10. Their mother died of illness. Their father died from a fall in the storm he went out in to find her medicine. The 2 boys survived alone until Amane Ubuyashiki arrived and told them they were the descendants of legendary swordsmen. Muichiro wanted to join immediately. Yuichiro threw her out. A demon found their home not long after and attacked them both, costing Yuichiro his left arm as he tried to protect his brother. Muichiro fought back until sunrise finished the job, then returned inside to find Yuichiro dying, but still whispering a prayer for Muichiro's survival. Muichiro grabbed his hand and stayed until it was over. He woke up afterward with no memory of any of it. The cold, detached personality he became known for as a Hashira wasn't originally his. It was Yuichiro's, absorbed in grief. Shinobu Kocho, the insect Hashira, is one of the most quietly devastating characters in the series, mostly because of how far her smile is from the truth. She grew up uncomfortably with her parents and older sister Kanae, in a family known for compounding medicine, which explains her talent for poisons and antidotes. That comfort ended the night demons broke in and killed both parents in front of them. They survived only because Gyome Himejima arrived and slew the demon. The sisters then tracked him down 2 weeks later and refused to leave until he agreed to train them. He said no, but they stayed and did his chores. Out of sheer will, they moved to Boulder, and after 3 days, he gave in. Shinobu became the master of the Butterfly Mansion at 14, after Kanae was killed by the Upper Moon 2 demon Doma. She took in orphan girls and raised them as family, trained Tsuguko after Tsuguko, and many of them were killed by demons. The smile she wears, she started after Kanae died, as a tribute to her sister. That detail alone should come with a warning. Kyojiro Rengoku's backstory wasn't one catastrophic moment. It was a slow collapse at home. His mother Ruka died of illness shortly after his brother Senjuro was born. His father Shinjiro, a former flame Hashira, fell apart with grief, retreated into alcohol, and told his sons they had no talent. He stopped training them. He gave up. Kyojiro kept going anyway, training himself, encouraging Senjuro, staying relentless and cheerful. His first mission was against a flute demon that had already killed 9 demon slayers, one whose blood art disrupted the nervous system through music. Kyojiro's solution was to rupture his own eardrums. He won. He always won. What he never got was his father's acknowledgement, and he didn't need it to become exactly what he was supposed to be. Tengen Uzui, the sound Hashira, may be the most flamboyant person in the Corps, but his past is as grim as anyone's. He was born into a shinobi clan of 9 children, and his father's training was brutal enough to kill 3 of them before age 10. The remaining 6 were forced to fight each other to the death, while wearing masks so they couldn't recognize each other. Tengen only realized what happened after he killed 2 of his own brothers. By 17, 7 of his siblings were dead. Only he and one younger brother remained, a brother who had completely absorbed their father's ideology. Tengen was disgusted. He left, took his 3 wives, and walked away from everything, teaching them along the way that their lives mattered beyond what they could do for a mission. He considered wiping the clan out and couldn't bring himself to kill his father and brother. That choice to leave instead of destroy says more about him than any of his battles. Giyu Tomioka, the Water Hashira, built an entire identity from guilt he didn't earn. As a child, he watched a demon attack his older sister Tsutako on the night before her wedding. She threw herself in front of it and died. Giyu tried to tell people what happened, was labeled mentally unstable, sent to relatives, ran off into the mountains, and nearly died before Sakonji Urokodaki found and trained him. During the training, he met Sabito, another student of Urokodaki, and they became close quickly. They entered the final selection together. Giyu was injured early, and Sabito spent the rest of the test killing every demon in the forest to protect everyone, until he reached the hand demon. During this battle, his blade broke while trying to cut the demon, and he lost his life. Sabito was the only one who didn't make it out that year. Giyu took his yukata and has worn half of it every day since, convinced the Hashira title belongs more to Sabito and his sister than to him. It's why he barely speaks to others. He doesn't believe he earned his seat. Gyomei Himejima, the stone Hashira, is the strongest of the lot. He's a man who prays constantly and weeps just as often. His backstory is equally sad. Gyomei lost his eyesight as a child from a fever. He grew up in a temple raising 9 orphans as family, burning wisteria incense every night to keep demons out. One child broke curfew, was captured by a demon, and made a deal to save himself by extinguishing the incense and leading the demon in to eat the other children. 4 orphans died immediately. 3 more ran instead of hiding behind Gyomei and were killed outside. Only the youngest, Sayo, trusted him. Gyomei fought the demon barehanded until sunrise, taking the scar across his forehead in the process. When villagers arrived, the demon's body had already disintegrated. Sayo couldn't explain it. They concluded Gyomei had killed the children himself, arrested him, and sentenced him to death. Kagae Ubuyashiki intervened and brought him into the Corps. Gyomei became Stone Hashira in 2 months. For everything he carries, he remains the most quietly compassionate person in the entire Corps. Then he goes out and hits demons with a spiked flail harder than anyone alive. 9 Hashira, 9 different kinds of loss, and somehow every one of them got back up. Make sure you check out our next video on what would happen if Luffy could steal the powers of everyone he ever defeated.